So this parable could be interpreted a couple different ways. Number one, collectively, all of us, the whole human race, in the field, as our Lord says, being the whole world. And this is how the Son of Man interprets it, okay? So I would say that's its primary meaning. But one could also interpret it, I guess you could appropriate it to yourself. Individually, we have weeds and wheat within our own hearts. So let's start with the first one. We're having a struggle down here, and it's going to remain like that until the end of time. So that's what our Lord's telling us, not to be surprised by corruption or evil in the world. And it was no different for Israel. That's what I want to point out, an interesting little detail. And today we heard from the Book of Wisdom in that very same chapter. The author describes how this process of correction is going to be little by little. It's gradual. And this goes all the way back to the book of Exodus and Numbers. God tells Israel, look, I'm going to clear these nations out ahead of you. He tells them in advance before they even get there. I'm going to clear it out for you. But look, I'm not going to entirely clear them out. These 7 nations, pagan nations, you're going to have to live in their midst. They're going to be around you. And they're going to be like thorns in your side. I will not, little by little, I will drive them out from before you until you are increased, until you grow and possess the land. That's an interesting way to put it. The whole of salvation history is like a kind of growth. Each of us individually have to grow. Little by little, he removes these things. And we go in there to the confessional, to receive what one priest told me. It's like a radiation treatment, shrinking the tumor little by little. People apologize. I don't know how many times I've had people apologize to me at the start of their confession. Father, I know I just was in here 2 weeks ago. It's the same thing. And, get angry with the kids. I'm mad at my husband, or I gossip at work, or whatever it is, mad in traffic, same old thing. We do the same things over and over and over. But we're weakening them when we go into that confession. Shrinking the tumor little by little. We're never going to be entirely rid of all these personal sins, character defects, nor collectively. It's going to have to grow up together. There's hope. So what is the hope for all of us? I want to turn to a pagan philosopher to think about for a second. This guy, Plato, smart guy, few hundred years before Christ in the 4th century BC. And he really was riveted on the higher realm, on God. It may not be an entirely Christian conception of God. It was arrived at through the power of his faculty of reason. But still, the church saw a lot of good in this, particularly St. Augustine. Eventually taking up Plato and later Platonic thinkers, it became like almost a mystical theology, a mystical religion of Neoplatonism. This soul's transmigration, ascent into God. God conceived of for Plato as the good, capital G, and he likens it to the sun. And that's our final end. One of his disciples, his greatest disciple, was Aristotle, who divided causality up into 4 different kinds of causes. You got the formal and material cause, what a thing is, and the stuff it's made of, and the efficient cause, something that moves it, okay? But then there's this important cause, a final cause, which is logically prior to all causes. That is, why? Why are we here? What's the whole point? Where's the whole thing going? What's the goal? What's the end? Final cause. For Aristotle, it was God. For Plato, it's God. Okay, for Christians, it's God. So the ultimate synthesis of Plato and Aristotle is found in St. Thomas Aquinas. Okay, kind of taking these two pagan philosophers who contributed greatly to the launch, development, growth, spread of Christianity. Okay, baptized these two thinkers and kind of synthesized them, or we should say completed them, because there was a certain preparation in many of their ideas. Although incomplete and admixed with error, the church saw a lot of good in Greek philosophy and kind of married it with Judaism, okay, and Christianity. And this marriage occurred. And so it's very important for us, and I find it fascinating to think of Plato, this guy, looking at God as the good, capital G, and he was just something so inspiring about that. How he aspired to arrive at the good at the end, the goal. With all his being, he was just transfixed with wonder and the contemplation of the good. Wow. All of us would do well to remember this final end from the moment we get up in the morning. You got to think of why. Why are we doing this? What's the goal behind all of this? You know, I look around at all these churches, all dotted across the landscape of the whole world. If you get up above, spin the globe around, you see all these spires pointing up, these steeples, pointing up to God. It's like the wheat reaching, striving towards the good. With their arms outraised. It's so beautiful. You know, get together here. We admit we're sinners at the beginning of Mass. And then what's the next thing we do? We sing the Gloria. You know, we're like reaching up towards the good, striving. Our hearts, you know, the image comes to mind of a daisy. Is it a daisy? No, sunflower. Sunflower follows the path of the sun. I was using that metaphor one time, talking to somebody, and they actually gave me one. It's a plastic one or silk or whatever the heck it is. But I like it so much, I kept it. And so I pray in front of this image of our Lord, the same one we have in the foyer of the church in my room. And next to it is the Blessed Mother. And she's kind of looking at our Lord. And I placed that sunflower, stuck it in the top of that image of the Blessed Mother. It's an image of the church, a model of the church, to follow the Son. You know, there he is, Son of Justice, or the Son of Righteousness, S-U-N. The prophet Malachi. Okay, the Son of Justice will come with healing in its rays. I think about Plato again. Like he conceived of God, or used the metaphor of the sun. It was a very popular image for him. And he could never have conceived of an incarnate God coming down into this world. But the Son of Justice came down here. It's just so beautiful to think of Plato meeting the Son of Justice one day. We follow that Son. That's our final end, our goal of the whole meaning of our being and existence. Is beyond this world. So as this steeple points up all the time, we drive around and see these steeples. It should remind us that's all of us, the wheat reaching out towards the sun. When you get up in the morning, last thing I'll say on all this, get up in the morning. Don't just get swept up in your day. So easy for that to happen. We have all these little ends, little goals, little things we're trying to achieve in the day. And the first thing that comes to mind is our things to do list. What we're going to be doing. Think about your final end. When I get up to that incredibly annoying okay, this thing I got at CVS, my alarm clock is the most annoying sound ever. It's like scene from Dumb and Dumber, the most annoying sound of all time, okay? And I throw the covers off. I can't get over to the dresser fast enough to shut that blasted thing off. But instinctually, we should turn to our Creator, to our final end, to the sun. Immediately, like, where's the sun, okay? Check in with your Creator, with your final end, with the good that we're striving for right off the bat. Like that sunflower. Get your Wi-Fi signal nice and strong. Get some bars up and running. I don't expect any of us to have like a mystical experience when the alarm clock goes off and we're stumbling around to the coffee machine, but at the same time, it's powerful. We check in right away with our Creator, remind ourselves, what are we doing down here? And get real clear on that. What our final end is. Somebody that's struggling to win an Olympic gold medal, what do when the alarm goes off at 4 a.m. and they got to jump in some cold pool or chuck up and hit the parallel bars or throw some weights around, whatever it is. They think about one day climbing up on top of that stand, seeing the American flag raised, and hearing the national anthem with tears streaming down their face and that medal hanging around their neck. That's what they think of. They think of the end. When that alarm goes off, that enables them to endure all these struggles. So life is a struggle. Our Lord's implying that. There's no way we're going to get rid of all these weeds the whole of our life. They're going to accompany us both in the world, in the church, in our own hearts, until 5 minutes after we're dead. Okay, they're going to be with us. We struggle. But in the meantime, there's so much hope in this reading. One day, as Plato found out when he crossed into eternity, the righteous will... Let me read this because it's so good. The righteous, what's our destiny? What's our end? Union with the good. When the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father.